1. At the start of Friends, the 6 main cast members each earned $22,500 per episode. By the final season, after years of negotiating together as a united group, their pay rose to $1 million per episode. Lisa Kudrow later said that their collective bargaining was essential because, in her words, the 6 of us are far stronger than just one person. 2. Before Friends had its final name, the show was first developed under the working title Insomnia Cafe. In this early version, the storylines were different. Joey and Monica were originally written as the main romantic couple, not Ross and Rachel. After NBC purchased the pilot, the name changed first to Friends Like Us, then to 6 of 1, and finally settled on Friends when the series premiered on September 22, 1994. 3. When Matt LeBlanc auditioned for the role of Joey Tribbiani, he reportedly had only $11 to his name. After being cast, the first thing he bought with his paycheck was a hot meal. 4. The famous opening credits sequence, where the cast dances around a fountain, was filmed at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California, not in New York City, despite the show's Manhattan setting. 5. David Schwimmer was the first of the 6 main actors to be officially cast in Friends. He was also the first actor the creators had in mind when writing the role of Ross Geller. 6. Jennifer Aniston was the last of the 6 Friends to be cast. Her involvement was delayed due to her existing commitment to another television series, which almost caused her to lose the role of Rachel Green. 7. During the filming of the movie The Whole Nine Yards, Matthew Perry made a bet with Bruce Willis. When Perry won, Willis had to guest star on Friends in a 3-episode role without pay. This is why Bruce Willis appeared on the show as Paul Stevens. 8. Early in the series, the number on Monica's apartment door was 5, but this was later changed to 20 when producers realized her apartment was meant to be on a higher floor. To stay consistent, Chandler's apartment number was also adjusted, changing from 4 to 19. 9. The Friends writing team maintained fairness in dialogue distribution by tracking lines and jokes with a pie chart. This ensured that each of the 6 main characters had roughly the same amount of comedic and narrative material per episode. 10. The white ceramic dog statue in Joey's apartment originally belonged to Jennifer Aniston, who received it as a good luck gift when she began her acting career. She lent it to the show for the episode where Joey becomes wealthy and fills his apartment with luxury items, but producers liked it so much that they decided to make it a permanent prop. 11. Ross's pet monkey Marcel was actually played by 2 trained capuchin monkeys, named Monkey and Katie. Katie continued her acting career later, even appearing as a sports mascot. 12. At first, NBC executives believed the cast was too young to appeal broadly to viewers. They suggested adding an older, mentor-type character who would offer advice to the group. The idea was dropped before filming began. 13. During the first season, there was no real street outside of Central Perk. The exterior was only a painted backdrop. The production team blurred the windows and added plants to disguise this limitations. 14. In Season 10, Episode 13, Joey struggles to learn French from Phoebe. In real life, however, Matt LeBlanc is fluent in French, making the scene ironic. 15. Producers originally offered Courtney Cox the role of Rachel Green, but she requested to play Monica Geller instead, preferring Monica's stronger, more assertive personality. 16. In the early concept of the show, the creators considered making Chandler being gay. They changed direction after Matthew Perry's audition, deciding instead to keep Chandler straight, but include jokes about his awkwardness and ambiguous mannerisms. 17. NBC initially objected to setting the show in a coffee house, believing it was too trendy. Executives wanted a more traditional location such as a diner, similar to the one featured in Seinfeld. The creators insisted on Central Perk, which later became one of television's most recognizable fictional settings. 18. James Michael Tyler, who played Gunther, was actually working in a coffee shop when he landed the role. He continued his real-life coffee job for the first 4 seasons of Friends, balancing it with his acting duties. 19. The orange couch in Central Perk was not designed for the show. It was found in the basement of Warner Brothers Studios and repurposed as the cafe's centerpiece. 20. Lisa Kudrow was afraid of the duck that appeared in several Season 3 episodes. Despite her on-screen comfort with animals, she found the bird unpredictable during filming. 21. Giovanni Ribisi, who later played Phoebe's brother Frank Jr., appeared in an earlier episode as an unnamed teenager who throws a condom into Phoebe's guitar case by accident. The producers later brought him back in a recurring role. 22. Joey was not originally written as a slow or dim-witted character. Matt LeBlanc proposed adding that trait after reading the early scripts, believing it would make Joey more endearing and comical. 23rd. June Gable, who played Joey's eccentric agent Estelle Leonard, also appeared earlier in the series as a hospital nurse in a different episode. She is one of the few actors to portray more than one role on Friends. 24. Joey's acting alter ego, Dr. Drake Ramore, appeared on a fictional version of the NBC soap opera Days of Our Lives. In reality, Jennifer Aniston's father, John Aniston, was a regular on the real Days of Our Lives, playing the character Victor Kiriakis. This parallel between fiction and reality amused the cast and writers. 25. When Matt LeBlanc auditioned for Friends, he showed up with a visible cut on his nose, caused by a fall and a collision with a toilet seat the night before. Despite the injury, he won the role of Joey. 26. The artwork on the walls of Central Perk changed every 3 episodes. The set designers rotated paintings and decorations to keep the background visually fresh. 27. Hank Azaria auditioned for the role of Joey twice and was rejected both times. He later returned to the show as David, Phoebe's scientist boyfriend, a character who became one of her most popular love interests. 28. David Schwimmer directed 10 episodes of Friends, making him not only a lead actor, but also one of the show's most active contributors behind the camera. 29. The show's creators, Marta Kaufman and David Crane, also co-wrote the theme song, I'll Be There For You, performed by the Rembrandts. The lyrics were written to capture the show's central theme of loyalty among friends. 30. Before Friends, Lisa Kudrow had a recurring role on the sitcom Mad About You, playing Ursula Buffet, a waitress. The Friends writers decided to make Phoebe and Ursula twins, linking the 2 shows within the same fictional universe. 31. All 6 main characters have kissed each other at least once, including in alternate reality or what-if episodes, except for Monica and Phoebe, who are the only pair that never shared an on-screen kiss. 32. The distinctive gold picture frame surrounding the peephole on Monica's apartment door was originally a mirror. A crew member, Ricky Parker, accidentally broke it during production, but the directors liked how it looked without the glass and decided to leave it that way. It became one of the most iconic visual details in the show. 33. The original theme song planned for Friends was Shiny Happy People by R.E.M. However, producers later replaced it with I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts, which became permanently associated with the series. 34. During the filming of the opening fountain sequence, the cast was given the lyrics to the theme song, but the actual music had not yet been recorded. They performed the dance scenes in silence while water from the fountain drenched them. 35. The refrigerators in Monica's and Joey's apartments were fully functional. Monica's fridge stored bottled water and snacks for the cast and crew, while Joey's was often empty unless it was required to appear stocked for a specific scene. 36. James Michael Tyler, Gunther, got his role primarily because he was the only extra who knew how to operate an espresso machine. His real-life barista skills directly earned him the recurring part. 37. By the end of the series, all 6 main characters had lived in Monica's apartment at some point. Each of them had also lived in Joey's apartment temporarily, creating a complete crossover of living arrangements. 38. Of the 6 principal actors, Courtney Cox was the only one never nominated for an Emmy for her performance, even though her portrayal of Monica Geller was widely praised by audiences and critics. 39. When Tom Selleck appeared as Monica's boyfriend Richard Burke, he received such enthusiastic standing ovations from the live studio audience that the crew had to reshoot his entrances later without an audience to keep the scenes usable. 40. Lisa Kudrow based aspects of Phoebe's personality on Jennifer Aniston's real-life interest in spirituality and alternative ideas. Kudrow borrowed some of Aniston's mannerisms and calm demeanor to shape Phoebe's gentle, whimsical character. 41. Actor and director Jon Favreau was originally offered the role of Chandler Bing, but he declined. He later returned to Friends as Pete Becker, Monica's wealthy boyfriend who trains to become an ultimate fighting champion. 42. On set, the crew used nicknames to avoid confusion between Matt LeBlanc and Matthew Perry. LeBlanc was called simply LeBlanc, while Perry went by Matthew or Matt. David Schwimmer was informally called Schwim by the production team. 43. When Friends ended in 2004, Jennifer Aniston and her then-husband, Brad Pitt, hosted a farewell dinner for the cast and crew. They served bottles of wine that producer Kevin Bright had saved since the show's first season as a symbolic toast to the series' legacy. 44. After the final season wrapped, each cast member received a piece of the sidewalk from outside Central Perk as a personal keepsake, a tangible memento of the fictional world they had inhabited for 10 years. 45. Lisa Kudrow disliked learning to play the guitar for her role as Phoebe. After mastering only a few chords, she announced that she was finished with lessons. This decision shaped Phoebe's musical style, simple, quirky, and limited to basic chords, which became part of her charm. 46. The names of the 6 main characters were inspired by characters from the soap opera All My Children. The writers borrowed familiar first names to give Friends a modern connection to the television landscape of the times. 47. The brief romance between Rachel and Joey was widely criticized by both fans and critics. The creators, Marta Kaufman and David Crane, defended it by saying they wanted to explore how love can develop unexpectedly, even when it feels wrong for the characters. 48. In The One Where Old Yeller Dies, Ross tries to get his infant son to say Dada, but the child actors repeatedly said it correctly during filming, even though the script required silence. The takes had to be redone several times because the babies were too responsive. 49. Matthew Perry struggled with addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol during the show's run. He attended rehab twice, in 1997 and again in 2001. Perry later said, "I was never high at work. I was painfully hungover," explaining how his substance issues affected his performance. 50. In Season 1, Episode 7, the one with the blackout, the term friend zone was used for one of the first times in television history. It was said by Joey when describing Ross's romantic situation with Rachel. 51. The storyline in which Phoebe becomes a surrogate for her brother's triplets was written to incorporate Lisa Kudrow's real-life pregnancy. Because the filming schedule required Phoebe to appear more pregnant than Kudrow actually was, costume designers padded her wardrobe to match the show's timelines. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel to show your support. And if you'd like to keep going, here's another video from our channel that you might enjoy.